and get everything addressed today.
Okay, are we recording?
Yep.
Okay, the Long-Term Care Administrators Board meeting is convening at 9:08 a.m. on March 28, 2022 at the Health Licensing Office in Salem, Oregon. By telephone conference call, I will now call roll. Nicolette, just as a clarification, my last name is Riley, R-E-I-L-L-Y. Nicolette Riley is here. Amy Brown.
Here.
Mary Rita Hurley.
Sorry, I'm here.
Maggie Hilty.
Here.
Christine Prather.
Here.
Okay, and Dane Jensen and Catherine Polnich are not present. Members, when you wish to speak, please state your last name for the record. For the record, public members calling into the public phone line are asked to email April Fleming at april.fleming@dhsoha.state.or.us and provide your first and last name. Public and interested parties' feedback may be heard during the public interested parties' feedback period if indicated on the agenda. Everyone is asked to use appropriate language, manners, and protocols when conducting board business, and this meeting is called to order. So it looks like the first thing on our agenda is the approval of the agenda. So I just need a motion to approve in a second.
I'll make a motion. This is Mary Rita Hurley to approve the agenda as is.
Is there a
This
second?
is Maggie Hilty. I second it.
Thank you. Amy Brown, yay, nay?
Yay. Excuse me, yay.
Mary Rita Hurley,
Yay.
Maggie Hilty,
Yay.
Christine Prather,
Yay.
and Nicolette Riley, yay. Okay, our next item on the agenda is our reports, and I'll turn that over to you, Sylvie.
Okay, so just a few updates. Most of you guys all know because they affect you, but the governor's office is lifting the state of emergency mandate effective April 1st. That changes a lot of our rules and a lot of things related to the state of emergency. She has also stated that state offices will open effective May 1st, which is a Sunday. So we will open May 2nd. So May 2nd, we will be back open as usual, like it was before. However, we do have the residential care administrators exam up and running on workday. So people do not have to come into the office to take that unless you guys want us to not do that once we get up and running. I still think the least amount of traveling that residential care administrators do, the better. That's less people that they're exposing themselves and others to. So I would assume you want to keep that going, but we can talk about that later once things get up and running and open back up. So other than that, board members, there's been some emails. I'm assuming several of you got some emails from Derek. There's been some confusion on some stuff. Wanted to clarify a few things. If anything changes email wise, any information on you, you're welcome to email me or him. Just make sure we know. There was a transition for the governor's office where they went from paper applications for board members to an electronic system, which is Workday, which is the state's all going to that. And that transition happened when some of you should have been, quote, reappointed for a second term, and the governor's office just said, just let everybody continue serving, blah, blah, blah. So we're trying to get caught up on that now. So I had a conversation with Mary Rita because she was like, what? To try and we're just trying to get caught up on the paperwork. So if you hear from Derek, that's just us. Ask him questions. You're welcome to call me, call him, whatever. But we're just trying to get all caught up on that transition from the governor's office. Other than that, we'll keep you updated on that and new appointments and all that stuff. Any questions before I go moving on? No. Okay. So for those of you who are looking at the materials, I'm on slide 8. We're going to go through your statistics. So slide 8 shows licenses issued by the quarter for nursing home administrators. And there, of course, goes my phone. Next slide is licenses issued for the residential care facility administrators. Again, they're broken out by quarter in our weird fiscal years, because remember, our years go from July 1 through June 30th. Slide 10 shows nursing home administrators who renew online versus paper. I'll get into a more discussion about that, so we can might slide back and forth between this slide and another slide in a little bit. Next slide shows the same information, but for, oh, this is, wait a minute. Oh, there's a slide in between. So the next slide shows licenses by age and gender for nursing home administrators. And then this is the other side I was expecting to see next, but this is, no, to get age and gender. I want to see licenses, oh, they haven't renewed yet. Because you guys just, mandatory licensure just started. That's why there's no renewal paper versus online for residential care facility administrators. So back to slide, so I'm on slide 12. So licenses by age and gender for residential care. So you can see there that there's a few individuals that are over the age of 74. Next slide is on slide 13. This is the long-term trend. So this is the residential care facility administrators. And it just kind of gives you a long-term trend so you can see whether it's growing, decreasing. You can see there in the beginning, it was a huge increase. That's obviously when licensure came on. And then, oh, sorry, I'm on slide 15, which is this is that same long-term trend for permanent nursing home administrators. And you can see there that it dips down and then goes back up. And this is just information for you guys to kind of see long-term trends. If you have any questions, you're welcome to interrupt me. Slide 16 just shows the administrators in training. So on average, how many administrators in training there are going through the program for each quarter. So now I'm on the financial slide, which is slide 17. This is the one where I kind of want to go back and look at those, the online renewal stuff. So one of the things that we are looking at on the financial slide is the showing of the cash, ending cash balance. So it's a running cash balance. You guys' cash doesn't go anywhere. It stays with in your fund. And we had all these new residential care administrators come on. So a lot of new revenue coming in. Your expenses are kind of all over the place, depending on what's going on with whether writing rules, doing cases, all that kind of stuff. One of the things that the office is getting is a fiscal analyst. And a fiscal analyst is a person who analyzes all the fiscal related stuff. So all the expenses, the revenues, the trends, the licensing volume trends, all that kind of stuff. And determines what the appropriate fee should be for licensure. So if you're bringing in too much revenue, because you want your revenue and your expenses to be pretty much the same, so that you're bringing in just enough of revenue to cover the expenses, you do also want to have a good cash balance, because if you have a case that goes all the way through the administrative law hearing, and even up to an appeal process, that's going to eat up quite a bit of cash really quickly. And we haven't had the mandatory licensure for residential care long enough to know how many cases we're going to get, complaints we're going to get. And Sarah is diligently working on getting caught up on all the nursing home administrator cases, but we haven't really seen any residential care administrator big cases coming through yet. So this fiscal analyst that we're getting, what I want them to do is to really focus in on this board and see if we can start doing maybe an online discount for people who renew online, which encourages them to renew online. So if you renew online, you would get, say, a $10 discount or a $20 discount. So that's what that fiscal analyst is going to start doing, is looking at all this. We want to be careful about not doing anything too fast, because we don't know how the cases are going to come in with residential care. So hopefully we don't get a lot and everybody's doing a great job. But as you know, that's not necessarily what happens. So, but any questions on the financials before I go moving on? No? Okay. Let's move on. Bob, you want to talk about the regulatory report?
Sure,
I'm on slide
sure.
19.
Good morning, everybody. This is Bob Bothwell for the record. So Sylvie said we're getting through the older cases that we've had with this. We're getting them closed, and we're trying not to inundate the board by having a whole lot at each board meeting. Today we'll examine 5 cases. Some of them are older cases and some of them are newer cases. I like to refer to them as low-hanging fruit that we can get through, get them, closed and get before you sooner than later. So we don't have those open all that long. But currently, from the 19 biennium, we have 11 open cases. And from the 21 biennium, we have 43 open cases. And 23, we have 10 open cases for those bienniums with a total of 64 cases currently open. Questions, concerns?
Bob, can you remind me again what the biennium year is?
Currently
Yeah,
or 23?
yeah, the 23 one.
Oh, I'm sorry. There's 10 open cases.
Yeah, but when did that start? When did that biennium year start?
That would have started July 1 of 21, Sylvie?
Okay.
I've been doing
Thanks.
this for 30 years. I still get confused. Which is fiscal, when does that start and when does the other one start? When does the biennium start? So yeah.
Yeah, I'm just trying to wrap my head around how long these cases have been open.
I can't tell you off the top of my head or even off this, the date that they were opened. But I can tell you that some of them, I think we've seen an influx in the residential care. But it's not been, that I can recall off the top of my head, anything too drastic, not licensing, but application issues in some surveys.
I guess I would maybe recommend, I know we're looking at cases today and it looks like based off of the numbering of them that they're coming from 18, 19, and even 21. But I mean, I guess for the sake of this board and for all of those people out there that still have these cases open, I would strongly recommend that by the end of our next meeting that we have the 2019 biennium cases reviewed and closed out if possible. It just seems like a long time for people to have to wait if they think their licenses are in jeopardy.
Okay.
So I have a question. This is
Yes.
Mary Rita. So you said there's a total of 64 cases open. Is that a large number for you all? I mean, because I have no context for that. It sounds like a big number to me, but.
So compared to some of the other boards, no. So cosmetology, which is our largest board, we may have a couple of hundred cases open at any given time. Respiratory therapy, again, it's another board, a larger board, and we have probably in the neighborhood of 100 cases open.
Wow.
So
So
keeping in mind that your board currently is relatively new, and there was no board for a year or so, and so some of those cases, not that we didn't attempt to get through them, but we had an investigator that was dedicated to multiple boards, and now we have an investigator dedicated to your board. So I guess this is an appropriate time to ask this question. Is the board willing to come together? So if we can scrape together, get 5 cases together for you to review in between board meetings, is the board open to that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I was under the impression as you were, these cases were coming up, you would call upon us to do that. Because I'm with Nicolette. I look at these cases and I know it's got to be incredibly hard, and some of the responses too from folks about, hey, it's been 5 years. Hey, it's been, what do you want from me?
Yeah, no, I understand.
It's been a long time. The other thing is too, now that residential care folks are licensed. I'm just wondering if there's a need, I'm probably preaching to the choir, that you all need some more help. How about
You're
that?
not
I mean,
preaching to the choir, yes.
and if so, is there anything we can do as a board to help promote that, recommend that? Because, you know, some of these things need immediate attention, and it takes years to get to them. It's well after the fact. So,
Well,
anyway.
when we get the complaint in, we prioritize them. And as they come in, Sarah's constantly prioritizing and reprioritizing them. But you know, she's on the line here, and I'm sure she's taken a note to
Okay.
wanting to get these older cases closed. And we're on board with you on that. It takes time to get information from people, and it takes time to get subpoenas issued. It takes time to, you know, track somebody down. As you said, some of these cases are, you know, 5 years old. They've moved on to other places, so now we're trying to contact them, but we just still want to do a diligent investigation.
Of
make sure
course.
you
I
have
just
the
want to know if
facts.
there's something that we can do to help you, because otherwise you guys are working as fast and as best as you can. And then at the same time, we're all putting our hands up in the air going, well, it's just all we can do. And some of this stuff is pretty serious stuff. And, you know, if we've got some bad players out there, you know, we need to get them off the market, and other folks need to be able to move on with their lives. So I just would put that out there. If there's, you know, I don't know, you want me to call the governor or something? I mean, who decides? Who decides how many people you get in your budget? So,
This is Sylvia. That gets decided through the legislative process. So getting more staff is not going to happen anytime soon. It's like pulling teeth. What we can do is schedule some board meetings in between your regular board meetings as soon as Sarah has a case that she needs you to review or needs you to give input on. And so we will take that into consideration and start scheduling some meetings in between your regular board meetings as soon as she's ready. So now that we know that you guys are all willing to do that, we can start helping her get through some of those cases. Because I think sometimes she kind of gets to a point where she needs some direction from you guys. So it just kind of sits and waits until we meet. And so when she's ready, we'll just start keeping a list, and we'll start getting you guys together a little bit more often.
thank you.
Absolutely. All right,
Anything
any
else?
other comments on the cases before we move on? No, okay. So in here we have House Bill 2011. So I hope you guys skimmed this and didn't read the whole entire thing, because unless you want to put yourself to sleep. This is the bill where we talk about the cultural competency being part of your continuing education. And in rule, way back when we did rules a long time ago, we decided that we were going to do 1 hour annually. Well, that's not what the bill says. So the bill says that it's 1 hour every other year. So we are just getting the rule to align with the bill. You can take 1 hour a year if you want, but you must have 1 hour every other year. So it's just aligning the rules. So I'm on the slide 25, and you can see there all we're taking out. So number 3, we're taking out beginning July 1, 21. We're already past that. So then it says at least 1 hour of continuing education every other year must be in cultural competency. It's just aligning the verbiage with what the bill said and what the bill's intent was. And then down on slide 26, number 3 also has pretty much the same thing. This is talking about the audit. So if you were to get audited, it's the every other year thing. Does anybody have any heartburn over that or any questions about that? This is just a quick rule fix that we're trying to do.
No.
No. All right. So on slide 28 is a proposed rule schedule. So as you know, we have to go through the whole process of doing where you guys have to approve the rules. We have to put them out for public comment, get public comment, which I doubt we'll get much comment on, but we need to do that process. So currently it says every year, but we're going to switch it to every other year. Does anybody have any heartburn with this, with you guys voting at your September board meeting to do the permanent rules? We can speed up the process if we need to, but that means that you guys are going to have to meet at a different time, and there's no necessarily need to speed it up because we have to go by what the law says versus what our rule says anyways. So even if somebody did it every other year, we couldn't cite them even if our rule says annually, because the law says every other year. So that's not a huge issue. We're not going to cite anybody for this. So there's not a big, huge rush to try and get it into place. But so as long as you guys are fine with September 13th, that will be when we'll have gone through the process. You'll vote on the rules permanent, and then the rules will go into effect October 1. Does anybody want to change any of those dates, or is everybody comfortable with that?
Sounds good to me.
Okay, so then we can move on to Ann. I know you're on there, Ann. Is there anything that you wanted to add that I didn't say?
No. For the record, this is Ann Thompson. Good morning, Chair and members of the board. No, you covered everything beautifully. And again, just for the record, we thought it would be easier for the annual piece to make it easier on licensees to track. And then as time went on, we learned that we couldn't do that. So we had to go back. So I apologize for putting everybody in the Wayback Machine, but hopefully we can fix this very quickly. But you did a great job. Thank you, Sylvie.
Okay. All right, so, well, then we are on item number 3, and this is where somebody needs to make a motion to approve the proposed rules and the rule schedule.
This is Maggie Hilty. I make a motion to approve the rules changes and the rule schedule, proposal schedule. Those are most of the words.
This is Mary Rita. I will second that motion.
Okay, and we'll take it to vote. Yay or nay, Amy Brown,
Yay.
Mary Rita Hurley,
Yay.
Maggie Hilty,
Yay.
Christine Prather,
Yay.
and Nicolette Riley, yay. Great. All
All right, perfect. Thanks.
We're going into public interested parties feedback at this point.
Yeah, Bob, will you see if there's anybody on the phone?
There is not.
There is not.
Makes it easy. Okay, so now we need to go into executive session, correct? All right, hold please while I find this script. Okay, the Long-Term Care Administrators Board will now meet in executive session pursuant to ORS 192.9902F and ORS 676.595 for the purpose of considering information exempt from public disclosure at 9:31 a.m. on March 28th, 2022. Representatives of the news media shall be allowed to attend the executive session by conference call and will be provided further call and instructions shortly. The public phone line will be muted for the duration of the executive session. There are no representatives. Oh, are there any representatives of the news media on the public phone line? No, I don't believe there is. So recognizing there's no news media in attendance, the public phone line will be muted for the duration of the executive session. We will return to open session before taking any final action or making any final decisions. We are now in executive session. And it looks like we're reviewing 5 cases.
Hold on.
today.
Nathan, you need to